Hi, this is Luka Doncic,
Hi, I'm Kyrie Irving,
and you're listening to the Mavs Step Back Podcast.
Doncic has the ball, down by 2. There's the switch. Gobert's out here. Doncic maneuvers for the lead. Got it! What a shot! Dallas has taken the lead.
Kleba inbound. Kleba looking in for Irving. Irving for the win! Oh my! A southpaw finish from Kyrie Irving! Just absurd!
All right, how's it going, everybody? Welcome in to another episode of the Mavs Step Back Podcast. I'm your host, Dalton Trigg. I'm not joined by my co-host, Drew Johnson, today, but he will be back on the next episode to recap Mavs Media Day, which is Monday. Like, we're almost there, guys. We have made it through an incredibly long offseason. It's coming to a crawl now. You know, it's finally here, but it's still going really slow because it's almost here, if you know what I mean. So, man, I'm so jacked up and excited to get this season started. Hearing that intro every time before I come on here, even if I'm with my guy DJ, man, it just gets me amped up. I'm ready for Mavs basketball. It's been too long, sour taste in our mouths from how that NBA Finals against the Boston Celtics went. It just didn't have quite enough. Now they've revamped. They got Klay Thompson. They have other role players like Najee Marshall, Spencer Dinwiddie's back, Quentin Grimes. The team in general, like, even if you don't take into consideration those additions, the team should still be pretty good just based on internal growth. Derek Lively, the second, is going to be a beast in his second season. He was already a beast as his rookie season progressed. He's going to be even better this sophomore season for him. Daniel Gafford, PJ Washington, those guys have more experience under their belts. And it's going to be their first full season with the Mavs instead of having to learn everything on the fly and just going from basically February on. So, I mean, there's a lot to be excited about. There's reports that Luka has already kind of been in his own mini training camp in Slovenia before Mavs actual training camp opens in Vegas. So, I mean, there's a lot to be excited for. Kyrie Irving, he had that broken hand that he had surgery on earlier in the offseason. That appears to be healed. So he should be ready to go, full participant in training camp, and especially when the season opens on October 24th against the San Antonio Spurs, Victor Wembanyama, at American Airlines Center. And speaking of American Airlines Center, if you're like me and you almost can't contain your excitement or your anticipation for the season, and you want to take in every little amount of content you can get from this team before the official thing starts, you can get a little bit of that at the Mavs Fan Jam. So, I mean, if you've been around for a while, if you've kept up with the Mavs for a while, you know what this is. The Mavs, they host basically an open practice. It's free to anybody who wants to come. American Airlines Center will open its doors at 11:15 a.m. Central Time on October 6th. So the day before the Mavs play their first preseason game. So, and they play that first preseason game is October 7th against the Memphis Grizzlies, which will also be at American Airlines Center. So that Sunday, October 6th at 11:15 a.m. Central Time, you can go and watch basically what is an open practice. They call it Fan Jam, but you can get your first official look at Klay Thompson in a Mavs jersey and how he, plays alongside Luka and Kyrie and the rest of the guys. Should be an incredibly fun time. Be sure to go check that out if you're free around 11:15 on Sunday, October 6th. Should be a great time. So, but yeah, I'm very excited. This team has loads of potential. You know, like I said, not just the bringing the guys in from the outside to be the missing pieces to the puzzle, so to speak, but just that internal growth, and not just the internal growth, but the chips that are going to be on their shoulders. Kyrie Irving, as great of a season as he had last year, he was a dud in the finals, and he knows that. He's taken full responsibility, for how he played against his former team, the Celtics, in the finals. He crumbled under the pressure. So he's going to want to, have some redemption. Luka in his first finals appearance, he kind of feels like he got punked, especially since he had the bad knee and other ailments he was battling. He feels like he got punked a little bit. So, you would expect him to be in tip-top shape and, try and make it through this season and get to the end of the season and into the playoffs without having any kind of injury issues, so he can get his own redemption. And in the process, perhaps winning his first league MVP. He's been favored like the last 3 years, I believe it is. And the highest he's ever finished came so close, 3 wins away from hoisting that Larry O'Brien trophy and just not being able to bring it over the finish line. That creates a fire in you, I feel like. I understand the journey was long, and some people worry about burnout, because it was such a long journey. But the way I look at it is, when you get there and you win it all, there's probably some complacency. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if we see the Celtics get off to a somewhat sluggish start, kind of have a championship hangover. When you get there and you lose, and then you go out immediately following that loss, like Nico Harrison did, and you add the pieces that you did around Luka and Kyrie, it's like there wasn't any moping. There was no moping. There was no, we feel sorry for ourselves. They took action immediately. So you already had a good team, a great team. You enhance that team now, and there's that fire in you, like, we got to get back. We got to do it. We know what we did wrong. We got to make our team better. We got to just hit a few more open shots, because their defense was, for the most part, outstanding in the finals. I know it didn't seem like it in a couple of those games and some of the runs the Celtics went on, but, to hold the Celtics to 101.6 points per game in the finals was nothing short of a miracle. as good as the Celtics were throughout the regular season and the postseason. So, the defense was definitely there, but the offense was severely lacking, and that's what Nico Harrison and company hope that they have addressed with how they approach this offseason. And I'm really excited about it. So, again, be sure to go attend Fan Jam. Should be a great time. You get your first look at, how Luka, Kyrie, and Klay will look as Mavericks together, and I think it's going to look great. I'm very excited for it. What's up, y'all? We're taking a quick break to tell you about PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps, on PrizePicks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. You can now win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. Want to play PrizePicks alongside Drewski, Joe Budden, and MMA champ Sugar Sean O'Malley? You can now find community plays under the promos tab of the app to view entries from some of the biggest names in the PrizePicks community each week. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code STEPBACK to get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code STEPBACK on PrizePicks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks, run your game. One other topic, actually a couple other topics I want to talk about before I took off here. I just wanted to give you all a very brief update before we get into all the madness of Media Day next week. Tim Hardaway Jr., everybody knows by now, he was traded to the Detroit Pistons for Quentin Grimes. Well, Tim Hardaway Sr. is making his rounds again. he's making his rounds and talking about, how the Mavs didn't do right by Tim Hardaway Jr. by giving him an exact reason for why he was being benched. And, he even went as far as calling it unfair treatment for Tim Hardaway Jr. And look, I'm not going to make too much of this. I just wanted to briefly touch on it because Tim Hardaway Sr. just, he runs his mouth. Anybody who will put him on camera, he runs to go talk to him. So, it's not like this is something new. Tim Hardaway Sr. has been talking for years, and sometimes he's talked so much that he really gets himself in trouble. You can go dig up some of the stuff he said in the past that's been inflammatory, but yeah, I mean, look, this is a bunch of nothing. Tim Hardaway Jr. didn't play because Tim Hardaway Jr. wasn't very good. I take that back. He was very inconsistent because there were games where he carried the Mavs over the past several years, and the Mavs needed it a lot of times just because their overall roster talent and depth was lacking. But now, after the trade deadline moves to get PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford, and then you have the emergence of guys, younger guys who made a difference in the playoffs, like Jaden Hardy, especially in the Western Conference Finals against Minnesota Timberwolves. There just wasn't really a need for Tim Hardaway Jr. to play anymore. And I've always said it, basing it off of what happened in 2022. Tim Hardaway Jr. went down with an injury, a leg injury, or maybe a foot injury. I can't remember exactly. It was either leg or foot. And then the Mavs immediately flipped the switch, won almost every game from that point on, there through the end of the season, went to the Western Conference Finals, lost to the Warriors, but they made it to the Western Conference Finals despite having Dwight Powell as their starting center. So, and, the only thing that I think was really holding the Mavs back was having that third consistent scorer. And Tim Hardaway Jr. was a good microwave scorer, but he was not a consistent scorer. And he wasn't great on defense. So, as much as Tim Hardaway Sr., and I get it. I mean, if my son was in a situation like that, I'm sure I'd, want to defend him too. But the facts are the facts. And it's nothing against Tim Hardaway, opinion, where he held the Mavs back. So, I think it's going to be a good thing that they've now removed him from the roster and replaced him with guys, Klay Thompson, sixth best three-point shooter in NBA history, and then other guys who, can also hit some shots from deep and play much better defense than what THJ could provide. So, another thing, the Mavs' odds to win the West. Let's see here. All right, so obviously the Celtics are going to be favored, to win the title again. And then those title odds, they're followed by the Oklahoma City Thunder second, which I think is a stretch. I understand the hype around OKC. They're very young. They're very deep, very talented team. I don't know because they lost in 6 games to a Mavs team that isn't as good as what this current version is now. And Luka had a bum knee during all of that. So, I don't know. Everybody's quick to put them on top because they were already so young and talented, and then they added Alex Caruso and Isaiah Hartenstein. I don't know. I'm not there yet. The Mavs are the defending Western Conference champs, and you have to dethrone the champs, to get the crown. And I'm just not giving it to them yet. They gotta go out there and prove it. They were the number 1 seed in the West last year, but, if you really look back to after the trade deadline, the Mavs were better than the Thunder from February on, and then they proved that in the postseason too, despite Luka being hurt. So I'm not there yet, but look, the odds are the odds. It's betting odds. Celtics are first. Oklahoma City Thunder are second. The New York Knicks are third. The 76ers are fourth. And then the Mavs are fifth, which means the Mavs are being ranked second in the West, essentially. They're ahead of the Nuggets and the Timberwolves. So, like I said, I mean, I get it. Second isn't horrible. There's still a level of respect there for a team that made it to the finals and obviously improved over the offseason following that finals appearance. But, I still think everybody's jumping the gun a little bit with OKC because OKC had unbelievable health last season. Like, it's just really hard for me. And I mentioned this on our last pod. But it's really hard for me to see OKC having 2 consecutive seasons of just excellent health like they did last year. So, we'll see. I don't know. But anyway, guys, that's the only few things I wanted to come on here and talk with you about today. We're going to start breaking down, doing individual player breakdowns, training camp previews of different players after media day starts. Me and DJ will come on here Tuesday, and we'll start doing that. We're going to do 3 guys per episode, and then we have a lot of other interesting topics to talk about as well with Luka, and where he said he would go to college if he had the chance in the U.S. And I think he was trolling, but we'll have that discussion either Tuesday or Thursday next week when I have my guy DJ back on here. But guys, we appreciate it. Thanks for coming in and listening every single week. Be sure to hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button on Apple Podcasts as well, and leave us a review. That automatically enters you for a chance to win future T-shirt giveaways. We also do ticket giveaways every now and then as well. So be sure to do that. If you do leave a review on Apple Podcasts, be sure to put your social media at. So if you do win a drawing, we'll know how to contact you. We can reach out to you and say, hey, you won, and we can see about getting you your prize. So we appreciate it, y'all. Y'all have a great rest of your week. Have a great weekend, and we will see you after media day next week on Tuesday. Thanks, guys. See ya.